Welcome everybody to the Broken Ring Racing League. This is season 13, round 7 here at Long Beach for the GT3 Sprint Championship. Right now we're in practice. We got 11 minutes left to go. And in the meantime, I'm going to catch you back up with what's going on here. The Draft Punk Silver are leading the team standings with Dylan Maroney and Rodrigo Theory in the first half, as well as in the second, based on the amount of points that they were able to garner for the sixth round. Also, another good contender here is the Lucky Aces of Cooper McCoy and Tyler Anderson. They're in second, followed by Vision Esports 2 by P1 Docs, Anthony V. Jenkins, and Miles Brown, who are out there on track at the moment. Anthony V. Jenkins in 13. Miles Brown, I thought he's in P8 in practice. The times are pretty much consistent. We're getting a couple 118s. Peter Flanner, Jacob Simmons have been able to do that. Not going to be able to really turn around right there. Yikes. And Nate Palmer goes into the wall. I feel like we're going to see a little bit of that. Unlike our Broken Wing Le Mans series, there's no LMP2s here to ruin any GT3 racers' race. So, that being said, I think the GT3s are going to do that all on their own. So, let's get to it. Beyond that, Mixed Nationalities in 4th place, Jeff Koffold and Austin McGill. And the Get Bean Nerd, Chris Lambeth and Jacob Simmons. I think what was stated is that the previous first half was going to stay as intended. That would mean the Get Bean Nerds do win the first half, but right now they're in 5th. And after that, it's Draft Punk Gold, Draft Punk Bronze in 7th, and then Cars Racing in 8th, Shadowline Racing in 9th, Pax Oceani Heinz Silly Beans in 10th, RPM Racing in 11th, Little Jelly Beans in 12, Caffeine Global Motorsports in 13, Ace of Rays in 14, Pax Oceani Practice in 15, and let it be known, they're in 15th, JD Daniel and Chris Daniel, but they're here. Oh, I don't think they're here. Well, Christopher Daniel is. He's in 11th. But they only attended 2 races. That was the first round and the 5th round, and the 6th round, technically, now that we're in the back half of this split championship. First 5 rounds were for the first section of this little endeavor. And then we got Prosciutto Punch Racing and 16 Pax Oceani Purple People Eaters in 17, Avalanche Racing in 18, Vision Esports by P1 Docs is in 19, and Narwhal Racing Team in 20. Having not, having actually registered as a team for this season, but not competing a single race. The admin team and admin/owner team there of Noah Hoskinson and Joshua Grasso. Noah not able to attend because he is in Italy. Congrats to him on that. I'm sure the food's great. Joshua Grasso just not feeling it. But he is there on our Xfinity Wednesdays. And those have been fun. Just did the Daytona. And with 7 minutes to go, I guess we can go over to what's happening in our pro standings here. Got Peter Flanner is not on track, but Miles Brown is. He's going to stop his car. So we'll go over to Jacob Simmons here. Jacob Simmons won the pro first half outright there over Tyler Sage Anderson, who was promoted. She was over Mark Foley. But Tyler Sage Anderson and Austin J. McGill have been promoted to the pros for the second half of this season 13. They are Tyler's in 2nd, Austin's in 3rd, Jeff Koffold is in 4th, Anthony V. Jenkins is in 5th, and Mark Foley in 6th. Just a lot of big things have happened. Mark Foley finished 3rd in the championship on the first half of this season and is now in 6th. He's not going to be competing any longer for the remainder of these races. And unfortunate as it is, he is in the Great United Kingdom. Just one of the lesser known parts. Britain. Yuck. Anyway, he's over the other side in the pond. It's probably too late for him to be watching this at this moment in time. But he's probably with us in spirit. Mark Foley, great at advertising for this league. All the videos that he has done. It's brought a lot of people into this group, this racing league, and we appreciate that of him and thank him. And moving on, we got Elliot A. Burton, who is at the Daytona 500. I know a lot right now. It seems like I know a lot, but people just say things. Over time, you hear things. A lot of gossipers in this group, I'll say that. That's such a joke. Elliot Burton is at the Daytona 500, so he's going to miss out on this, but he has got one drop week to boot here for the second half, and I guess that's going to be Long Beach, as he'll probably join us for the remainder of Le Mans, Snetterton, and then Spa. You can blame J.D. Daniel for the Snetterton choice there. Portimao is a brilliant track, and it really just offers all the best kind of racing you could ever hope for and want. But, we're going to Snetterton. Mark Foley's homeland. Disgusting track that we will be at. Dylan Maroney is in P2 in the Pro-Ams PAMS class, the Purple PAMS. He's in Draft Punk Silver. Miles Brown is in 3rd. Rodrigo Theory is in 4th. And Cooper McCoy in 5th. Beyond that, we go to Richard Sevra, who is in T1 at the moment in the AM class. That doesn't make sense. No, he shouldn't be. He's actually supposed to be in 2nd. Alright, Eric Koonsman was the one that won the first half of the AM class championship. Richard Severa is behind him in P2. Brandon G. Burns in 3rd. Forrest Holland in 4th. And Scott Webber in 5th. Jacob and Chris bring the livery heat. They're bringing that. I wonder if I could even go that far back. I'm going to take a look here. You know what? It probably didn't even record. It didn't even record it, and that's the true testament to it's unfortunate is what it is. Jacob Simmons and Chris Lambert were causing all sorts of mayhem on track in the practice session. They went into the pits together, did this little cute back and forth, swerving their cars until they eventually crashed into each other. And then they did it on track into turn 6. And all I can think is, what the heck are they doing? Actually, it's turn 5 to 6. That straightaway before the... Oh, no, it was turn 6. Just before the long straight is turn 7. These two, the Get B nerds, are playing with a little bit of fire here, as the livery entails there. Being on the nose, but also very bizarre behavior on track, these two. Don't know what that's about. I think they're trying to set the tone for the other drivers. See what's going to happen here on track. Doesn't hurt that they have a commentator on the side of their livery. That might play into the anti-commentator curse, if there's such a thing. And with that said, we got 2 minutes left in practice. 44 drivers are gracing us with racing tonight. It's actually pretty interesting. I honestly thought it was going to be a lot more. We've been seeing peaks and actually maxing out in the 60s this later half of the first half of this season. God, that's a lot to think about. The first 5 rounds, we were almost maxing out and had maxed out a couple times in the first 5. a little bit of more lukewarm reception on the second half. I can understand why. We had the Super Bowl last Sunday, and now we have the Daytona 500 this Sunday. And there's nothing more exciting than American sports. I mean, I think Super Bowl is terrible, but I also like watching sports that you can actually see the entire thing happen. Ooh, who's that? That's Craig Carroll, our league owner. What did he do? He kind of just lost that all on his own, right? It's not really, he's just goofing. Just having a little goof. Putting some... Oh, you know what he did? He just Roman Grosjean'd himself. Want to warm up those tires. Yep, I've seen that one before. I won't try to do that. Peter Flanner, the 118.625. His last was a 118.8. The guy knows what he's doing here. He's 0.3 ahead of Miles Brown. And now that's 3 drivers that have been in the 118s. Past that, from P4 onward to P32, all those drivers are in the 119s. And then after the P32, 33 onward are in the 120s, with only 2 drivers setting times on the board that were 121 and 122. Not that many laps involved with those ones that were set that way. That said, we're about to start qualifying, and a brief word from our sponsor. And we're back. Qualifying has just started. We have 14 minutes left to go in that. We have Peter Flanner, the first driver out, to take us to a first official timed lap, hot lap, as it is. That said, this is the GT3 Sprint Championship for Broken Wing Racing League, Season 13, Round 7, here at Long Beach. And unlike the Broken Wing Le Mans Series, this is just GT3s. So any evidence of death that will occur is going to be class warfare. Just the GT3s hurting each other. And that being said, saw a lot of that in practice. So this will probably be just as bit of spicy as those races, that race that happened last Tuesday. And on board we'll go with Peter Flanner, the driver who set the fastest lap in practice, now probably favored to set the fastest lap in qualifying, with Miles Brown just behind him 0.3 and Jacob Simmons 0.4. Using almost every bit of the track there, Peter Flanner crosses the line, but never once getting uncomfortably close to the walls there. And sets the fastest lap overall so far. That was a 1:18.9. And then we're going to start seeing the 1:19s kind of play up and down the field. Again, Pete getting a low 1:19. Jacob Simmons crosses the line to go with a 1:18.777. I mean, Peter just down to P2. Trevor Bonesteel up into 3rd. That's very interesting. Miles Brown crosses the line. What can he do? He was in 2nd in qualifying and practice, and he puts on a 1:19.8, almost 0.9. Goes into 11th. Colin Luckhurst crosses the line and goes into 8th with a 1:19. Is this the Daytona 500? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But if you were here in this race, I might say that is probably true, Justin. It would be, because you'd be wrecking people. Maybe you wouldn't. I don't know. Now look at that. Paulo Langer is in third place there with a 118.8. John Javecki goes in the 118s. And now we have 4 drivers in the 118s. Previously we had 3 in practice. Paulo Langer did not set off an impressive time in practice. I think he was in the top 10, but now he's in third. Tyler Anderson crosses line with a low 119 of a .140. John Javecki is that last one in the 118s. And then Brandon Burns goes a little bit quicker. He's actually got a 118.9. So now we're getting a lot more drivers in the 118s. Previously, it was P4 to P32 in the 119s, from the low 119s to the high 119s. There were only about 8 drivers setting 120s, and beyond that, of those 8 drivers, there's 2 that were in the 121s. That pretty much just settles where you're going to be on the track right now. Is P25 is just did a low 120. Aaron Siciliano is just ahead of him with a 119. So now you can see clearly where this field is from P6 to P24, all in the 119s now. As John Javecki's in the pit lane, Paulo Langer's still going out there. Oof. And I'm gonna pull this back slightly. What happened here? Looks like he's a little unsettled, but no, that is a Valhalla Racing driver who just lost it on his own. And Trevor Bonesteel getting another fast lap out of that and going up a couple positions. Christopher Daniel up into P10. Miles Brown, where can he put himself with this lap? That was a 120.6. This is one of the drivers that set a 118 in practice. 118.7 if I'm not mistaken. Or 118.6. And yes, should see an improvement out of him. Sandro Churlis, our last driver with a valid lap on the board. We have 3 drivers that have not set times on the board that are in the pit lane, and 3 others that are on track but not set times either. Steve McAllister. Ooh, what's going on here? He's trying to exit the pit lane, but he's stopped because there's a little bit of a traffic jam. And that is Long Beach's exit of the pit lane. Yikes, that probably killed somebody's lap there. Brian Sporsky Jr. is out there on track, has not set a time on the board just yet. Trey Missack in the pits was out there for a little bit, I think. Nothing changed just yet. John Javecki trying to improve. Paulo Langer trying to improve. Peter Flanders still on the top step there. And he's going to exit the pit lane now. Jacob Simmons across the line. 119.6 out of him. No improvements. Tyler will cause 5 cautions on his own. His stench will make other drivers pass out. And Tyler, if you hear that back, that is your favorite fan, Justin, was just trying to say nice, lovely things about you. And we do got some new people. With 6 minutes, 47 seconds left here in qualifying. Got another driver here of Alexander Krawek. It looks like he is new. He's got the AM class scheme on for himself. He's letting drivers pass, which is very nice of him in qualifying. And he's on an outlap. So is everyone around him. Force is really like coming close. This is not ideally how you would start an in lap here. As everybody that's on their out is just gonna gun it through the hairpin and just follow the guy in front of them. It's not a lot of space, not a lot of distance they're giving themselves, but maybe the Porsches are looking for that extra little toe down the start straight finish and then on the back straight, which is after turn 7. Welcome to the league. This guy is, by my estimation, new. I haven't had to say Prawek before. But welcome. Aaron Siciliano is back. It's been a while since he's joined us. Alex Zahir's still with us. Matthew Wyckoff, it's been a while since we've seen him, but he's out there on track. Is Max in this split? He's just going with the most odd racing memes right now? Is that what's happening? Chris Moulton returning. He's been around for a while now. I think it's just this season. Richard Severa just went to P11, and this is the driver who's in P2 in the AM Class Championship. Just ahead of him, Spencer Smith, and Jeff Koffold is in 9th. Christopher Daniel. Now, that is an impressive time, a 119.2 out of Richard Severa. And he's got something clicked here. We're going to see some AM Class drivers battle within the higher echelons of this split. Our pros are always supposed to be towards the top. Our pro-ams in the middle, and then our AMs, just both those drivers hit the wall, and he's going to take a timeout on that one. It's going to be a decent amount of damage. Chris Moulton crosses the line. See, there you go. There's a pro-am, Purple Pam, into P10, pushing Richard Severa down into 12th. Spencer Smith is a pro-am Pam, and he is in 11th. Anthony V. Jenkins crosses the line, and that is a pro, getting ahead of some of the Purple Pams. And Craig Carroll, P17, Miles Brown in 16. Miles Brown still has not collected a lap that is garnered something that he's done in practice. He's capable of doing 118s. So you got Jeff Lubitsch here in P15. Christopher Daniel just ahead, a pro driver in 14. So a little bit of a kerfluffle of the classes that are all very close together at Long Beach. Chris Lambeth crossing the line. He's in P18 at the moment. Adam Tingle just ahead. And he's a purple pro, just behind, I should say. Ahead in this footage, but who we're on board with. But he's in P19, just behind Chris Lambeth. Ironically, that they're right next to each other on the charts. That Rodrigo Theory out there is Purple Pam. Just ahead of him is Spencer Smith in 12th. Rodrigo in 20th. Marshall Scari also there in 21. And 4 drivers out of the 44, no time on the board, still in the pits. No indication that they're going to go out there. Matthias Ezekiel Macromini in P37, he returns. This driver joined us on the round 6. So then, still new to the league, but welcome. Bolts Holland in 36 here. Brian Zborski Jr. going into the pits, or getting out of the pits there. He's in 35th. Matthew Wyckoff crossing the line and goes into P21 at the moment. Everything can change. No change yet out of Peter Flanner here, Jacob Simmons, John Javecki, Paolo Langer, all still roughly into it. Tyler Anderson did get into the 118s. Last drivers, that's P1 through 6 in the 118s, and then goes P7 onward to P30, all in the 119s, and then P31 to P40, all in the 120s. No driver outside of the 120s. That's a really tough, this is a really close group of drivers. That's what they're going to be doing qualifying, but race pace is a totally different beast. We'll probably see a little bit of little bit of a bow. Some drivers really close together, and maybe a lot of mini team groups that are drivers just sticking together, little packs. But I foresee some people are going to be in no man's land probably after the pit stops. John Javecki's just behind Jacob Simmons, so no time on the board yet. Peter Flanner in the pits already, 36 seconds to go. He could go again, Jacob Simmons, if he wants. He's going to have enough time. Same with John Javecki. We'll see if they do it. Across the line. John Javecki goes into the pit lane, so he's going to call it good. Jacob Simmons is also looking to call it good, and I don't think that time was any quicker. Bryden G. Burns and Tyler Anderson still have a chance here. They're 5th and 6th. They're still going for it. Brandon Burns. Is that right? Brandon Burns is 3rd in the AM Class Championship and is 5th so far. Okay, he goes in the pit lane. So no change out of him there. But that's an AM Class driver. This is wild. There's a lot of different things happening out there on track. If I think about that correctly, that's Miles Brown, who's ahead. He's in 17th at the moment. He hasn't put on another lap. So 119.3 is his fastest. He's capable of 118s. Miles Brown goes into P11 with that over the line. And Anthony V. Jenkins across the line into 8th still, holding it out. Dave Palmer back there, no change out of him. Sandro Chirilis, no change there. And Alexander Krawek still out there, but just not going to be able to complete that lap. Aaron Siciliano, is he going to try to continue this one? Yes, he is. He's in 32nd at the moment. Maybe this changes. And no change. And that will be everybody across the line. And we're just waiting for him to stop his car. This switchover's gonna happen in a second anyway. Bam. Into the wall. There's the fountain section. And that is qualifying. P1 through 15 are on the board. You can see them right there on the left-hand side. Moving over to 16 is Christopher Daniel. J.R. Hoopson, 17. Craig Carroll, 18. Chris Lambert, 19. Adam Tingle, 20. Rodrigo Theory, 21. Matthew Wyckoff, 22. Marshall Scary, 23. Scott Weber, 24. Tyler Kern, 25. Colin Luckers, 26. Charles Whedon, 27. Andrew Korstecki, 28. Dylan Maroney, 29. Michael Sharon, 30. Alex Zahir, in 31. Aaron Siciliano, in 32. Alexander Krawek in 33, Tom Smith 34, Sandro Chirilis 35, Brian Zaborski Jr. in 36, Forrest Hall in 37, Matthias Ezekiel Macromini in 38, Steve McAllister, Dave Palmer is in 39, Dave Palmer 40, and then the drivers that weren't gridded, were not unqualifying, Trey Mistek in 41, Michael Authen, 42, Ken Pullen in 43, Lars Tyhouse in 44, and Kyle Hoffenberger in 45. I guess we had 45 drivers out there. Interesting. And a nice way to start this out and to turn 5 and 6 here. We will see. Maybe the blimp will get a good view. Yeah, look at the blimp. What the heck is that? Is that like a little thing on top of his... That Chris Chitterling? The chopper cam on this thing. I can't see it that much better. I want to know what it is. Is it like it's like a purple-headed smiley face thingy? Oh, it's a purple-headed person. It's like a Jelly Beans mascot, maybe. Oh, look at that little shade there. Is the Jelly Beans greater than the baked beans? All right. I think the Get Beaner in P2 is speaking on the track and not on his rear wing. And bam. As we're about to go green, Peter Flanner gonna start us off with Jacob Simmons in second. Some of these guys are gonna still be in that. Actually, a lot of drivers are still in the. Still trying to get through that final hairpin. No change from our leaders here, but anything further back, John Trevecki holding off pretty well. Tyler Anderson up one position at the start of this race over Brandon Burns, losing out. Everything so far so good. Clean through. And it is still clean. All the way up to P26, it looks like everything's pretty good. That's P30 for some reason, 34. And maybe it wasn't the cleanest overall. We have a couple of drivers that are further back. Down a couple. One actually down really badly. We'll take a look at that at a different time. So I guess the start of this race did not go as planned for some of these drivers. What we can say for certainty here is Jeff Koffold and Chris Chitterling made out one position each, with Anthony V. Jenkins being on the receiving end, and now next to his teammate Miles Brown in 11th. Alexander Krawek is out into the pit lane so far. And the only other opportunity of attack we saw was Tyler Anderson overtaking Brandon Burns on the start-straight finish when this all kicked off. Beyond that, no change in position beyond the ones I've just stated until P18, which is Chris Lambeth over Craig Carroll. He's got JR Hoops in his sights. JR Hoops is in the AM class. Doesn't have the accents on. But I'm sure he's going to probably going to start noticing once he gets all these penalties for not having the lead decals on. That is it is stated in the rules. Trevor Bonesteel is pretty close here. Brandon G. Burns is just ahead in the Acura. This is just turning into a I had the analogy, now it's gone, but it looks like not a lot of passing. Oof. Well, there's the passing done right there, and it's because it blew the braking spot there. Trevor Bonesteel losing 2 positions. Up goes Chris and Jeff, who now gain 2. We're now looking at P5 through 10, where the only drivers have really made significant change in this race. Beyond that, it is just drivers following the driver ahead of them with no real change in the order just yet. Jeff Lubitsch hot on the heels of Miles Brown here, though. Oof, looks like he did tack the wall there. Further up, we have Paolo Langer, a little bit closer to John Chivecki than before. Same with Tyler Anderson. Whoa! Who is that? That is Brandon. Yeah, it just went wide. And will you look at it, though? Brandon Burns, despite going wide at the hairpin, didn't lose any positions. Jeff Koffold and Chris Schierterling, one of the only couple of drivers on the grid that have made positions, and actually we just saw two more, or one more out of both of them. And the rains that pours for people losing positions, but no one else having to feel that heat. Jeff and Chris look like they're matching each other on pace and just going through this, carving their way out of this field. Trevor Bonesteel is going to have to pick a moment himself because it looks like he might God. That just gave me a heart attack. It's Miro the Hero. Thank you for the follow. I guess I didn't have my audio set to the right source there. I'll wake somebody up. Oof. Look at that. Yikes. In a spin. I'm not even sure which one that was. Oh, and I don't know what that is, but Christopher Daniel just slowed down significantly. And now we have several drivers that are fighting it out there in front. Rodrigo Theory on the inside line, but he got this in the braking zone. Adam Tingle goes through, and Craig Carroll's got the upper hand on the exit, and he's going to get ahead of Rodrigo Theory there. Scott Webber just behind in this battle. What actually happened there? And now they're all slotted back in. Briefly, we'll go back. He hits, I think, Marshall Scary. Oh, and Craig spins the Get Bean Nerd. Doesn't spin him on purpose, but just briefly what I can see is these two come together. JR Hoops hits that driver, and then that gold Porsche gets right into the back of the Get Bean Nerd. Look at that. Boom. And he goes for a little spin. Yikes. So Chaos has entered the track, and it is claimed some lives. Who was that, by the way? That was Chris Lambeth. Obviously, it wasn't Jacob Simmons because he's in second. They lost 7 positions. Dylan Maroney up 4. Another unlucky soul here is Christopher Daniel. And thinks it's Miro the Hero for the prime sub. I don't know if his car is damaged at all. It just doesn't look like he's the most settled right now, but maybe it's just the way that the camera is anyway, just showing him. Who was that car that was ahead? Oh, it was Richard Severa. That was the car he came into contact with. There's JR Hoops, and then there's our little group. Craig Carroll's involved in that one. Adam Tingle leading it, and Christopher Daniel's already at the back end of that little pack that's formed there. Dylan Maroney's got another one in. Colin Luckhurst goes in on lap 7. I don't know if that's going to be a strategy or he's got actual damage. We'll see shortly. Paolo Langer has John Chavecki in his sights. It's been a couple laps coming. He's been closer and closer. Tyler Anderson losing out a little bit of time here. He was half a second off of Paolo Langer, but now he's 8/10. This is the battle for P3. On board we go. I really haven't seen anyone get a really good run down the start straight finish into turn 1, and it doesn't look like this is going to be any bit of the case here, as there's just a little bit of effect of once they're on power, it kind of slips away from the driver. The lead car slips away. It's not going to happen there. I think these overtakes are going to be in sector 2 and 3 versus down into turn 1. Haven't seen one really happen beyond the ones that were already people slow and giving up time for whatever reason. This would be one of those moves if he can get it down, but nope, not there. Might come into turn 7 out of 6. It's been done before. And nothing there. He's awfully close, but still nothing. For the back, got Chris Lambeth, who has Dylan Morelli just ahead of him. Looks like they are awfully close as well. It's going to be more about mistakes that people make for these overtakes that could happen. I don't see anyone with raw pace kind of shooting through the field here. That being said, one of those drivers that you can sort of make that claim about would be Trey Mistack. He's in 34th. He's up 7 positions, now 8 if he gets Steve McAllister here on the straightaway. On the back straight, and yeah, he goes by and makes a position gained here. And it says he's pit on lap 1, or he just maybe started from the pits. I'm not sure exactly. This little pack has been about even with each other. No one making any moves thus far beyond what they've gained from other people's misfortunes. And we have like another, another pack formed here. Chris Chitterling in 7th. Leading out, and then it's just a long snake all the way down to Richard Severa, who kind of ends that. That's P15, P7 to P15, all pretty much matched on pace. No change in the order out of any of these drivers beyond what's already happened. Jeff and Chris making up those 3 spots. Trevor Bonesteel looking like he's closer than ever to Brandon Burns. Can he make a move? Not there. And he slots back in. Is Formula 1 driving today too complicated with... Oh my... You're just on a meme tear, Justin. A meme tear. Can you repeat the question? That's what I got for you. And looks like Trevor Bonesteel was able to get by Brandon Burns, and now he's got Anthony V. Jenkins on his inside, and they're going to go side by side in the hairpin. That's never ideal. That actually made him a little squirrely, and his teammate is going to be right alongside of him almost. getting super close. Are they going to fight each other into turn one? I think he flashed his lights to signal, let me take this. And he does. Go by. And now Richard Severa is joining the fight here with Spencer Smith in 14th. And with that said, we're going to go back and take a look here as Andrew Korostecki here, who was in 26 at the time, spun it coming out of turn 6 there. A little bit of a downer for him there. Let's see here. Oof, looks like he almost came into contact. I think he did come into contact there with that driver just ahead of him. It's unfortunate. I think that was Forrest Holland. No, that wasn't Forrest Holland, but it was. And Michael Othen. Time to Purette in 35th. Some free spots gained for some other people. Chris Lambeth. This was that crash that happened. I guess it was a crash, if you call it that. Just get a little spin around. Expecting Chris to be on the gas there as it was all cars kind of checked up there. And Tom Smith. Ooh, it didn't capture this one. All right. So we'll go back here. Look at this start. They are all checked up. And that is a little jelly bean. Ooh. And that's how that big gap formed at the back of the pack there. Ooh! Takes Colin Luckhurst for a little spot. That was... I don't even... It starts here. This is Tom Smith on board. He's going to stop because it's got to check up. And he's fully stopped and tries to get back on, and then boom, other people start cautioning, and then somebody goes into reverse. And Charles Whedon, that was the little jelly bean that on the outside here. Oof, they go too wide in the hairpin. Of course that might happen, and that causes that incident. Andrew Korostecki also involved as he was on the outside, and he's got, I think, Dylan Maroney right there, maybe Rodrigo Thierry, and he tries to go to the outside. He's like, yikes, also involved. That is by far the gnarliest start of a race. This far back, if we had 60 drivers, this would have been an even bigger pileup. Look at that. That's just mayhem. What do you even say here? That's Michael Sharon there. He would, I mean, he's trying to go. Oof. That reverse, though. That was so weird. That's just a whole pile of stuff. And it is interesting, to say the least. What happened there was the race start. It was green flag racing just ahead of Rodrigo Thierry. Oh, what was that? Thought he was making a pass there. Justin, are you just having some natty lights and tossing out Formula One memes? Just meme lore? It says the only thing I can think that you are doing. Michael Othen, Brian Zaborski Jr. Brian Zaborski's in the McLaren. He's on the inside here. Looks like he has the move down here on Michael Otten down into turn 1, but nope, it is not done. It looked like they're side by side, and through stays Michael Otten, up 8 positions since the start of this race. And Andrew Korsecki is out now. His car still looks a little beaten up there on the front left. That is where he had the contact with the wall. Just watching Daytona end. Did my boy Blaney secure it? That's all I want to know. Did he do what is right and win it? I hope he won it. Dylan Maroney out here in no man's land right now. 3.2 seconds ahead of him is Christopher Daniel in 19th. Tyler Kern is 1.2 back. It's one of these, we knew that this kind of scenario was going to happen for some drivers, while other drivers still right there in the thick of it, in the midst of battles. Scott Webber trying to make a move here on Rodrigo Theory for a lot of laps now. We're at lap 15 of 34. Byron William. Oh, that's boring. I don't want to watch the rest. I watch it like stage 2. Blaney's win in stage 2. Don't like the stages, but that's what it is. All right, Rodrigo Theory is in the pit lane. And we have maybe our first cut here. Adam Tingle, another driver who's gone in the pit lane. It's on his out lap right now. So we're going to see Rodrigo Theory, who was just ahead in... he was facing... he was facing Scott Webber in 17th. So we'll see what happens here for a first driver who's really up there at the top of the order there. P120. He was 17th. Now he's still actually now he's coming out and he's in 29th. And Dave Palmer gets ahead of him, and so does Lars Tyhouse. Michael Sharon goes into the pits. Rodrigo Theory not losing any more spots here. That's Alexander Krawek. He's involved in the incident on lap 0, lap 1. There it goes. Oof, Chris Lambeth trying to get back out there. What happened here? He's got Tom Smith ahead of him. Actually, I don't think this is correct. That is Tyler Kern. Ooh, tries to make a move down on the inside line into turn 7, and it did not work. Ooh. And that student driver had some professional reflexes there. About to make contact with Chris Lambeth. Another position gain here. 18 positions gained for Trey Mistek, who's in 23rd, but he's got a pit. Rodrigo Theory now is going to catch some of these positions back in 31st, but all these people in the pit lane, he was racing them, and he's gotten 2 so far. And I think only 4 pit, and a couple of them weren't even part of his race. But he's gone ahead of everyone so far. Adam Tingle's down into 30th. Craig Carroll pit on lap 11. And no other driver that has gone in the pit lane is changed right now. Brandon Burns, another driver who's gone in the pit lane, and he had gosh, who did he have? He had Trevor Bonesteel, who was just in front of him. Miles Brown and P.V. Jenkins were behind Brandon Burns, so he was in 9th place when he went to the pit lane, and everyone else is staying out so far. We have Sandro Chirilis in 36. Michael Sharon, first ahead, and 45. Looks like he's going to let him go here, as well as the other driver. Trying to make it easier for these the lap traffic to let the other guys by. And it's happening. Chris Moulton taking advantage here. He might have a move down here on Jeff Lubitsch, but it is not done just yet. And good on Sandro here for making it really easy for all these drivers to get by without impeding in any meaningful way there. Battle at the front, still kind of rapid. Peter Flanner is now catching all lap traffic ahead of him. Marshall Starry just ahead in 31st. And then he's got another 7 seconds to get to 30th, Colin Luckhurst. The only reason why this is happening right now, I truly think, is based on what happened at the start of the race. Really not good how they just, when you can see how compact they were, everyone's flying down from P1 through 25 maybe, but then beyond that everyone's just in a, what do you call it, the concertina effect, and it just did not play out by anyone's means there. Scott Webber rejoining us. Rodrigo Theory may have him on the exit here, and this is kind of what we were looking at. P15, he gets by Scott Webber, and through goes back up to P26 at the moment, and every driver ahead of him has not pit. Still beyond Brandon Burns, who's in 22nd. Now does Richard Severa have Chris Moulton here? We haven't seen a car actually this close making the move. That's too I don't think that move is down right there. And Tyler Anderson is going side by side with Paolo Langer, who took the defensive line on the back straight here and actually just made the move. Whoa! And that is another group. Paolo losing position there in, yeah, what can you say? This is not great for Chris Lambeth here, I think. But that wasn't him at all. That was a different driver. Oof. Oh, I see now. Somebody got hit. 262 spun into the barrier, and Colin Luckhurst hit that driver. It's unfortunate. Who's 262? Adam Tingle was the one that spun. That was Adam Tingle into the tire barrier. Unfortunate. So P1 through 3 have not changed positions since the start of this race. It's kind of an interesting stat. Up until the chaos kind of really started, I guess, on lap one. We just didn't really see it until later review. Everyone at the P1 through, I'd say 25, but barely any change in the order. But now there's significant change. Brandon Burns is down 15 positions. He had every driver ahead of him has not gone in the pit lane just yet, though, so that's partially due to it. And Brandon Burns is fighting Forrest Hall on here for 22nd, or 21st, I should say. 22nd. Or 20th? The heck? It's one of those weird... We're out there. Live on lap 22. Almost gives him a little kiss. Makes that one stick easy. And also to sport Anthony V. Jenkins, who did pit on lap 20, several laps later, going for the overcut, did not make it work there, as Brandon Burns is still ahead and up into 15th. Charles Wheaton exiting the pits. Scott Weber out there already, and he's now up into 25th. Now only down one position since the start of this race, but also critically, he got a couple more drivers he can beat in time when they go into the pit lane. It's been a bit chaotic here at Long Beach, but nothing too crazy, I would say. I think the start was probably just the most bizarre start to a race I've ever seen, with everybody stacking up in that hairpin and showing no real regard for trying to let people get out of that whole scenario. It is something else, we'll say. And Anthony Jenkins is about as close as he's been so far, even prior to the pit stops. About half a second off him. Able to fall a lot closer in that section, but I think we'll see a little bit of a ebb and flow here, especially after turn 5 and 6. And once he gets on that back straight, it really just kind of pulls slightly away. And there it is, half a second. We'll probably go to 6/10 after the corner. Oh, it's actually not. He's gaining on him. He's now 3/10. 4/10. Oof. Even with that little wall hit, oh, his car is got some damage. And we're gonna go on board here with Brandon Burns. He's got Miles Brown ahead. And Miles Brown with the overcut makes it stick and is ahead of Brandon Burns. And that was a position on track. So the overcut did not work for one teammate, but did work for the other. He did have a slow lap there because he did hit the wall. So that could have played into it. That was a second difference. His pit stop also was quicker than both of the drivers he's surrounded next to. Now, is this the moment that we can see this driver make a move? I don't think so. Cutting the apex there. And no change there. Oh, what's happening here? Paolo Langer's down into 6th. Just got passed. I see here. Aaron Siciliano has not gone in the pit lane just yet. He's still out there. That's why he's in 5th. Jacob Simmons is in P1. Peter Flanner went into the pit lane. Tyler Anderson went into the pit lane. John Javecki is already on his out lap, so he's not going to have to repeat this. But now Paolo Langer's out. We'll lose Aaron Siciliano, so Paolo will go back into 5th place. But he's still got John Javecki ahead of him. Tyler Anderson is leaving the pits. Peter Flanner's leaving the pits. We'll see what happens there. There's a 30-second gap from P1 to 2 at the moment. John Javecki crossing the line. Probably no change. It's not quite there. Ironson out there into turn 1. Ooh. Ah, that was... Okay, I think that was Sandro Churlis there. It's back out. Brandon Burns is in 11th. Miles Brown in 10th. Trevor Bonesteel also out there at 9th. So about where we saw this was going to go for him. Brandon Burns kind of is down 6th, but based on when he was getting overtaken, and Trevor Bonesteel had already overtaken him on the track. Getting back out there where he is position-wise, I think his pit stop went as well as you'd hope. There's a thing on it, though. Aaron Siciliano, I'm not even sure what class he is in, but Tyler Anderson is back into the pit lane, and this is something I thought was going to happen. When he exited on the last lap, he cut the exit of the pit lane, and I'm almost positive he got a penalty for that. And a penalty, it looks like, is it's a drive-through penalty. Or a pit. Actually, no, maybe it's not a drive-through penalty. He's not going towards. He wasn't going towards his box. Yep, and it was a drive-through penalty. Tyler Sage Anderson sitting 2nd in the championship in the pros, with Jacob Simmons just ahead of him. Now dealt a penalty, almost positively, for cutting the pit lane exit there. And if you're everyone else ahead of him, Chris Moulton, Jeff Lubitsch, Richard Severa, Anthony V. Jenkins, Brandon G. Burns, Miles Brown. You get the picture here. Basically everyone that wasn't in P3, but behind him. And we take those! They're probably saying to themselves, that is a perfect rendition of, you didn't make the pass, but you did get a pass made. Absolutely astonishing there. Ooh, click back here. Jacob Simmons does get out of the pit lane ahead of Peter Flanner, but he does get him on the... But watch this exit. Does he go... I think it's fine for Jacob Simmons. It was a little bit more egregious from what I saw. Maybe it had nothing to do with the pit lane exit. Maybe I'm completely wrong here. But I'm almost positive it did. It looked like he had all fours exiting before he was at the... Like, all four exiting across the double yellow. Or is it white? I can't even... Someone ask him about it. DM him. Jump into a Discord call with him. I'm sure he's not thrilled about that penalty. Maybe it had nothing to do with it. Maybe it was just incidents. I don't think he was really doing anything. But trying to figure this out here. We have Jeff, Chris, Trevor Bonesteel, Miles Brown. Brandon G. Burns is going to be our AM class winner if he still keeps it ahead. Richard Severa is the AM class driver who's battling right now. He's in the 11th. So he's separated by one position. Anthony V. Jenkins ahead of him. But this is the AM class finishing ahead of our Pro AM class. PAMs. The purple PAMs. There is not a single purple PAM in this lineup that I can see, Jeff Lubitsch is a AM class, and he's in 12th, just behind Richard Sevra. Chris Moulton is our purple Pam in 13th at the moment. This might be one of those cases where I don't know if this has happened yet, but the AM class driver is going to finish higher in the order than the purple Pam Pro Am driver. That is just goes to show you the scope of what Long Beach brings to the table. Is it kind of is a great equalizer. I mean, everyone's time was a 118, 119, or 120, and it was all close. It was all close, and honestly, qualifying matters more at some point than the race pace, because some of these drivers, where they qualified is kind of where they're kind of sticking. Sure, they got passed by a couple of drivers that were a little bit faster in the pace, but some of these people are putting their car where it needs to be, and they're putting it right where it needs to be, and it is working out just fine for them. Steve McAllister just ahead, and is going to let both these P1 and 2 by, who are battling for the win here. 5 laps to go. And going over to JR Hoops here. Miles Brown just ahead of him. Might have been hit on lap 21. Aaron Luckhurst is in the pits. Aaron has not gone in the pits. His stint is on 22 laps here. Michael Sharon as well as pit on lap 15. Alex Zahir has not pit, or he did pit on lap 7, so maybe this is all done and set for him. It's one of those drivers I was involved in that opening start. Just unfortunate for him. And Chris Shirley might have something down here for Jeff Koffel with 4 laps to go. It's not totally on just yet, but we'll go back over to our race leaders. It looks like everything's fine to them. They have not had any damage. Gyro here. Gyro. It's Gyro. Leaving a little bit of margin there. It's always nice to see some of the pro drivers not making every risk needed. And that is a car off. It's Dave Palmer in P36. Just took into the runoff. And they are going to catch Michael ooh! Whoa! Ah, yikes. Oh. No bueno. What can you do? I think maybe Peter thought he was going to let him by, or that the driver was going to let him by. Maybe Peter thought he was going to get let by there in the hairpin, but I mean, like, it's a hairpin. These 2 wide scenarios are never really been working out for anyone. It's always been kind of chaotic, the GT3 class. It'd be one thing if it was the Le Mans, and granted, he probably maybe. I think the driver maybe was like, "I'll just get me on the straight," but I don't think that's anyone's fault there. It's unfortunate. That's just a racing incident. Still leaves Peter Flanner ahead with 3 laps to go. And he's got a 2 point... maybe he doesn't. He's got a 2-second gap to Forrest Holland just ahead. Hopefully he doesn't want to catch that driver towards the end of this race. Brandon Burns in 10th got Richard Sevra. It is tight. Oh, look at that. The battle for P1 in the AIM class is now shifted to Richard Sevra, who's ahead. And they're going at it, but we're going to look back slightly further back when this happened. And it didn't look like it was an incident. I think he just got him. Ooh, yeah, got him into turn 7. Nicely done. And he's going to hold on to it for now. He's our driver of Spencer Smith. In 13th is our Pro-Am driver who's going to be finishing the highest in the order of the Pro-Ams. Colin Luckhurst might have Lars Tiehaus here. On the inside line he goes in the braking zone. Well, not going to make that stick there, but still belting out there for P30. And that's Alex here into the pit lane. He's not going to have enough gas for the final part of this lap. That's unfortunate, so he's going to have the splash and dash. Trey Mistak might have a move here on Aaron Sistiano. Take a look shortly. So drivers head into turn 6. Our leaders here. Peter Flanner, Jacob Simmons just behind. The overcut did not work, even though he took less fuel. It's a 39.9 to 42.6. The irony, if he pit with him, he would have been ahead of him. But that's not what they did. They just had different traffic when they're on their outlaps. And Peter Flanner is going to win over Jacob Simmons for the Pro Class standings. And then John Javecki into P3. Paolo Langer in 4. Jeff Koffel just still ahead of Chris Chitterling, half a second. He's going to finish in 5th. Chris Chitterling in 6th. Trevor Bonesteel in 6th. Anthony V. Jenkins in 8th. Richard Severa still holding out against Brandon Burns. Got ahead of him towards the end there on the second and final lap. Richard Severa, the AM class winner here at Long Beach for round 7 over Brandon Burns in 10th. Jeff Lubich in 11th. And Spence Smith in 12th. He's our Pro-Am winner here in P1 for his class. Miles Brown in 13th, J.R. Hoops in 14th, Rodrigo Fury in 15th, Dylan Maroney in 16th, Scott Weber in 18th, and Craig Carroll in 19, I think that's it. 18, it says 18, I'm not sure. It keeps changing because people are doing other. Marshall Scar in 19, Trey Mistek 20, Aaron Siciliano, he did get past him, that's 21. Charles Whedon in 22, Chris Moulton 23, Tyler Anderson 24, and we're going to go over to Peter Flanner, who's taking this into the pits. John Javecki's coming out there. Forrest Holland 25, Stephen Kowser 26, Michael Sharon 27, Chris Lambert 28, Lars Tyus in 29, Colin Luckers 30, Sandra Churlis 31, Tyler Kern 32, Alex Ahir 33, Matthias Ezekiel Macromeni 34, Brian Zaborski Jr. 35, Dave Palmer 36, Tom Smith 37, Andrew Korstecki 38, Michael Authen 39, Alexander Krokweck in 40, Adam Tinkle 41, and Christopher Daniel in 42. Every other driver did not set laps on the board. I think Matthew Wyckoff did, but was crashed out and I think left after that one. That said, that is the lineup there for this race, and put out the results here and give a moment to see if any of the drivers will join me in the cool down room. Peter Flanner, our Pro Class winner and the overall winner. Richard Severa finished 9th the AM class. Two drivers in the AM class finished in the top 10. That's actually mighty impressive. All other drivers are pro drivers in the top 10 from P1 to 8. And Peter Flanner, congratulations on that win. Overall win, pro win for the class that you're in. I mean, what a fantastic run. It looked like you fueled a little bit more. I mean, your pit stop was actually longer than Jacob Simmons, but you got him into turn one. Fantastic result there. I mean, you really had a good battle going on, and you just kept it ahead of him. What was going through your mind as you saw him go for the overcut? Was it just that you had a really good outlap? Is that what the difference was?
I fueled based on what the auto fuel was telling me and not what I calculated. So I had like a lap extra of fuel in, and that was the difference between me and Jacob. And I saw him coming out of the pits as I was coming into turn one, um, and I knew I had to stay in front of him. Otherwise, like Long Beach is so hard to pass at.
Mm-hmm.
So
Very difficult.
so I knew I had to stay in front. So
So you
I
just kind
was
of went
just
for it on that turn one.
Yeah, I was glad that I totally cleared him because I, if he was further alongside, then we might have made contact.
Well, I'm glad you didn't. It was a very smooth transition there. You got ahead of him, you cleared him, and then you kept it ahead of him towards the end. It looked like he might have tried to make a couple of, you know, fake outs to make a move, but ultimately he kept it behind you and finished where he finished. It was great to see that start for you guys was so clean and well done. I mean, everything from P1 to 25 and a little bit maybe even onward, it was all extremely well done. Partially what happened while you caught the when traffic before your pit stop is there's just a concertina effect, and there's just a big pile up in in the hairpin in the before the start straight finish. So everybody, all those drivers in the 30s and the 40s, like they were just kind of like victims to like they couldn't start the race quickly. Like they, it took a while for them to clear out that mess that occurred there. Did that
Yeah,
did that
I'm just
affect you at all with all those drivers when you caught up to them and you're like, wow, it's only like lap 11, I think, when you caught up to the back to
well,
back.
I caught up to I think Marshall first, and he had great pace and he wasn't holding me up at all. So that was great. And then he pulled into the pits, and I had clear air for a while. But then we caught up to an accident that happened in the hairpin, and Jacob was right behind me at that point. So I was just afraid that he was going to capitalize on it. But
Oh yes,
luckily,
yeah. That was towards the end. That was on like the second to last lap, I think it was, or the third to last lap, where, yeah, there was that accident. Well, I'm not, maybe not even that one, but maybe it was one earlier than that. But I did want to ask you about that. That must have been stressful. You came into contact in the hairpin with a lap driver, and Jacob's right there as well. Luckily, the way it worked out is you're able to go on the outside after the contact happened, and Jacob followed suit, but didn't like I don't think wanted to capitalize, or maybe he was you both of you were just like, oh, we need to get by this, but that itself must have been kind of stressful getting into contact that late in the race.
yeah, it was very stressful. I mean, if he followed behind me, then we're both going to get the same exit there. So that's why he wasn't able to capitalize on it. I noticed the entire race I was getting a better exit than him out of the hairpin, and that's what was keeping me in front because he was catching back up during sectors 1 and 2.
I see. I mean, it was either a make or break for some of those drivers because I could see on my end that yeah, people sometimes. I mean, some particular drivers were better in sector 1 and 2 and catching drivers, but once they got to that hairpin, and I would even say how well they were going through turn seven, that right hander on the back straight, it really was the difference between whether or not someone was going to get a really good run down that line there. It's a fantastic result overall. I'm not sure if you knew this, but we had two drivers that AM class drivers that finished ninth and 10th. They battled towards the end and ultimately went to Richard Severa, but that's kind of a fantastic result, seeing that there's this track really does become a great equalizer to some of the class stuff that goes on. A lot of the pro ams were further back in the field, And so I think this is maybe the first time I've ever seen AM class drivers win over that division since it's been created.
Yeah, that's nice. That's impressive. I love seeing close battles, and I always watch the race back afterwards to see all of the battles that happen. So it's good to see.
Absolutely, it was just a fantastic result in total. And then I'm not Brandon Burns. He qualified, I think, fifth or sixth in the bracket when we were starting. So you already had an AM class driver in the top 10 at the start of the race. He did hit a couple walls, which is really what set him back, and which were other people were able to capitalize and get past him. But ultimately, he still kept it out there and had a good pace. Yeah, and so it was a great result. Thank you for joining me, Peter. It's always been a pleasure. It's great seeing you on the track there. Can't wait to see you for the next one. I think that's going to put you up a little bit higher in the points there. You're P15, only because you didn't show up for the first half that much. I mean, you came into through two races, but maybe for the second half, that's a totally different scoring bracket that we'll be using. So we'll be able to see whether or not how far you're gained on that one.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the second half. I missed most of the first half, so I don't expect to uh, be way up there near the front. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
You're there in speed and in spirit. Thank you again, Peter. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jason.
And yes, Richard Severa, you did win. You beat Brandon Burns, and you passed him on a couple laps remaining. So congratulations to you. You did it. You became our AM class driver winner for this race at Long Beach, and also ahead of the Pro Am class winner. I think it was Spencer Smith in P12. Jeff Lubitsch is a pro in 11. So congratulations. I think that's the first time that's ever happened. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to following some of these, but Spencer Smith, congratulations to that driver for finishing the Pro-Ams uh, P1 finish for the class. Everyone else, it was great. Great job. Again, Richard Severa, who's second in the AM class championship right now. Eric Koonsman is ahead of him. And we're going to be seeing a really good battle on our hands towards the end of this series for this season between Eric Koonsman and Richard Severa and Brandon G. Burns, who just kind of put on a good show. Both of them finishing 9th and 10th is a fantastic result. Eric Koonsman, I don't think showed up for this race, so this is going to be his full-on drop race. So because he did not show up, we will see a little bit difference in what happens for the remainder. All to say, thank you everybody for joining me, and can't wait to see you guys next Sunday for the GT3 Sprint Championship Round 8. After that, we will be going, or this Wednesday, we'll have the Xfinity Series. I'm not even sure where we're going, but that's the same normal 9 Eastern Standard Time. And then the V's Race is still out there. That's a multi-class event, which is really fun for those. It's a free, all free stuff, all free tracks. Everything else is free. The cars are free. Really good, clean racing out of them. Almost never see penalties being tossed out in that series. Also, check out the merch page. In the About Me section, click on the link to go to the Broken Wing Racing League merch. I'm not sure where the proceeds go. Maybe to the pockets of a couple people, but maybe not. Maybe it goes to bettering the league. I know all of these the owners and the admins do this free out of the love of the game and how much they care about this group. They try their best to make it as clean and informative as possible when additioning out penalties as other stuff like that. Money goes to the league. There you go. Gareth Gareth has it for me. Gareth Ham has it in show. My co-commentator knows exactly what's going on more than I do. That's not embarrassing at all. Thank you everybody for joining me, and we will see you for the stream next Sunday, and also next Tuesday will be the final round of the Broken Wing Le Mans series, and that will conclude what will be a really great multi-class endurance racing series that we have added. And thank you for all for. Oh no, it's nothing. Okay, there you go. Thank you all for joining me, and catch you next time.